Going on, guys? I figured I'd upload a video kind of showing a little bit of the progress real quick on my Suburban map. So I've been adding things here and there. You may not see all the pieces in this particular demo, but I just want to kind of show you the major addition. And that is the sewer. Gotten really detailed with this, so I figured I'd show it off. Now I will be retexturing the sewer itself and some of the other assets, but for now this is just what I've come up with. So every piece is modular in design, meaning that it will snap together and they fit and match other pieces. So the streets are the same length, for instance, as this. The only one that's different is the middle one, but all the outside sections are going to be about the same size as the streets. So this way, if I want to make another intersection after this and a few more pieces of street and then another intersection on the top, they'll all fit together properly. So this red box here and behind this door, that's the player bounds, the collision box. So this way I know that the player will be able to fit through the door. Some of the zombies may not be able to do so, but what I will be doing is kind of making like rips and openings in the wall itself or the metal grating so that some of the bigger ones can get through. Same thing with the sides of the walls. What's going to happen is that I'm not sure if you can go up and down the ladder actually in the game. I don't know if they have mechanics for that, but what I will do is make it so they're accessible from, breaks in the wall, tunnels that will lead out, maybe go, big hole in the ground in someone's yard, or it'll be going through someone's basement, which will mainly be what I'll be doing, because if you think of a sense of a neighborhood being attacked by zombies and people are trapped in their homes trying to get out, they might, dig a tunnel if they're kind of trapped down there and see if they can get into the sewers, things like that. So it'd be easier to get players kind of from the surface into the into this area. So I pretty much I'll show you how I did this. So I just basically made the hole. Anything about Boolean operations, they're basically just like cookie cutting different pieces into other pieces, subtracting, addition, things like that. Sort of like what you can do in Unreal Engine anyways. But this is a little bit more complicated in a sense where you can do many different operations. Uh, but I made the manhole here. So we'll make that disappear. Oh, let's make this part disappear first. You can see underneath kind of section there. That disappear. You see I've actually made a concrete opening as well. Made the ladder. This will be the ceiling. So in the back here, it looks the way it does because you're not going to see this. And for anyone that doesn't realize or doesn't know this, a lot of times when you're making any game assets, anything that you're not going to see or the player's not going to see and it's a polygon, you want to delete it. Like for instance, some of the sides of these roads, which I'm going to have to optimize. These sections you're not going to see, and underneath you're not going to see, so I'd be deleting those. But anything that the player is not going to have access to or be able to see unless it's absolutely necessary, like for instance, this is actually the ceiling, or rather the upper part of the tunnel, that's going to be seen, so I can't delete that. But this used to be a box inside. I kind of did a cookie cutting Boolean operation to kind of get the tunnel working, but the outside I didn't need, so I deleted that. But that's why you see this. So you would basically be seeing underneath, you'd be seeing supports going across, and to make it look realistic so it doesn't look like, it's just one big concrete slab waiting to fall on you. We'll get rid of this real quick. See down inside here. So I got a concrete platform. It's kind of raised up, so when you come down, got a metal grating here around it. It'll fit perfectly with all the other pieces in a modular fashion. Then I'm also going to have these intersections and walls here on each side, and then they're going to be at the end of these longer pieces. So there'll be one in here and going all the way here. I'm also going to have little steps and stuff every so often coming out of this middle part, as well as bridges going across. So this way, you can cross without having to go all the way down the tunnel. And if you accidentally fall in and you can't jump up and get on the side, you'll be able to go up the steps. The zombies will be able to do it too. I noticed in this game the zombies can jump pretty high. You can't, so they got a kind of an advantage on you. But they'll also be able to come through the manhole, at least most of them. But for those that can't, again, I'm going to be making openings in certain parts of the sewer that will go through a tunnel in the ground, maybe come out of someone's yard, um, maybe through their basement. But you'll be able to figure that out pretty quickly. I'll make it so that maybe you'll see like a construction site that kind of looks like they're doing work, and maybe that's what they're doing. They're trying to get underneath. I'm going to add piping too around here, and hopefully we'll make it a little bit more realistic. Add some piping, add some lights. Uh, Anything else I can really think of that I would add into a sewer. And then these doors here will be animated. So they won't be just stationary. You'll be able to open them and shut them. You'll be able to weld them, because in the game that's what you can do. You can weld doors. And this way you can buy yourself time if they're kind of hoarding down one of the tunnels, or two or three, or all of them. I'm not sure if you can go up and down the ladder, so that might be kind of an iffy situation. But again, this will be perfect. So if you have like sentry guns, you could put them in the doorways. And unless there's a big opening here, you might have nothing to worry about. You can just kind of pelt the things as they come in. Everybody can cover certain parts and take them down. And then if it gets too exciting, too crazy, escape, go through the tunnels, get up on the surface, back and forth. I'll be adding homes, houses, things like that. But I got to design them in a modular fashion. That's going to be the last part. I figure that will be what takes the most time, and attention to detail will be greatly needed for that. Got the telephone poles here. I even got the side steps, as you can see. But these are based off of real world scaled telephone poles. From what I could figure out online, the average size was 45 feet, and 6.5 feet were in the ground. So, and basically that's what I did. I would measure it all the way down underground. I would just delete that part, but this is what it would look like even with the 6 feet in the ground. So, I just put the transformers on them, put the wiring up there, the texture map, ambient occlusion, because it just seemed like it made sense for these type of assets. Some of them you don't really need it. For instance, like in the sewers, I'm going to want a better looking texture. Like this looks pretty good, but if I were to make a diffuse texture, what's going to happen is that it's going to get too blurry, just like these textures did, because it's kind of big for the 2D UV space that you're working in. You got to keep it in a box area, and if it's too big, then it's going to have a lower resolution for the texture. So if you're doing like a 1024 by 1024, you're really going to kind of get a 5 by 12, 512 by 512 texture or less. You can try to utilize it the best that you can, but the problem is, depending on how you do that, sometimes it doesn't matter. Like for instance, this big long part, if I cut it into pieces, you're gonna obviously see seams. So you just got to really think ahead. I might actually figure out a different way to do this, but for now, this is what it's going to be. And this is basically it. This is what I've gotten done so far. And I figure I'll add a little bit of like small convenience stores, maybe a bar, a club, things like that. But for the most part, the inner part of the map is going to be a suburban neighborhood with just homes, until you get to like end of the street, and maybe near the end of the street there'll be like a store or something. There's going to be more homes, but I'll probably add little side things, maybe a church, maybe a school, maybe a hospital. I don't know yet. I haven't really figured it out. I don't want to go too crazy because it's only meant to be a certain size of the map. And then what I may do too to make it a little bit more realistic is that even though I make more parts of the map that you can actually see, I'll probably block it off ahead of time. So this way you'll be able to see farther, but you won't be able to access it. Same thing under the sewers. I'll probably put blockage and stuff in front of the door so you can't get by it, but you'll be able to see farther down in the sewers, so it doesn't just look like, it's blocked off and then things are just gone. They don't make sense. I want to make this as realistic as possible, even for an older game. So I figured I'd share this. Now, a lot of the other pieces that I'm going to be adding to this map aren't present right now because a lot of them I've already saved and brought into Unreal Engine. They're already ready to go. But for the sake of showing you what I've been doing, I just figured I'd kind of clear up the map the best I could. Also, I'll be adding water. For now, it's just going to be flat texture with animated water. But once I figure out how to create animated water that is seamless and that I can just bring in as one big piece or multiple pieces, but they all work together without, like for instance, if you had modular pieces like this, if you had it in water and it was animated and actual, the model was animated, you have to make sure that when it snaps together with another piece and it's animated that it works. It doesn't look like one part's doing something else and the other one is, and then there's just breaks in the water that don't make sense. You know what I mean? So until I can figure out how to do that, I'm just going to do the typical, texture of water. Underneath, it's going to be like a water zone where you'll have resistance. And if you actually go into the water, you'll be able to kind of swim a little bit. I think you can do that in this game, but for the most part, it's not even going to be that deep. So you'll just be kind of slowed down if you go through the water. Make it a little murkier, dirty looking. And like I said, the manhole should be able to fit both the player and some of the zombies, so they'll be able to come out of it, go back into it. You'll be able to do the same thing. Players could stand around it and shoot grenades in here. So if they were coming through and they were kind of gathering in here, you could just drop grenades and blow them all to bits. So I figured I'd share that with everybody. And once I'm able to finish off the map, put it together, got some of the homes and things like that together, what I'll do is I'll do a few online tests with people. Anybody that's willing to test this out with me, hit me up. I will be putting this on Steam's workshop as well as putting a link on the YouTube videos once I have it up. I'll put it on Google Drive, Dropbox, places like that, so you can get the map itself. Otherwise, you'll probably just have to connect to a server. But I will make it so that it's already made. The map's already built and ready to go. So if anybody wants to put it on their servers and stuff like that, you'll be more than willing. Just give me credit. I will be putting up obviously level screens that have my name on it and things like that, so people know this is my work. Because pretty much everything in here is my work. Right now, everything you see is exactly my work. Nothing in here is anybody else's. But this is for the community. It's for fun. I would love to see people play on this map because I personally want to play on it. That's why I'm designing it. So I figured I'd share it with everybody. And if you have any comments, suggestions, if you'd like to see anything added to it or have any good ideas you want to throw my way, feel free. I'll see what I can do. And I'm going to make a few variants of this map. So there'll be like some during the day, some at night. Some will be, during the fall, might be during the winter. So you might have Christmas themed ones, you'll have Halloween themed ones, things like that. So I'm going to make multiple variations of this map, but anything that you feel could be added to it, let me know and I'll see if I can put it in there. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all later.